5 million of our fellow Americans who get below poverty level checks from the government, below poverty level checks, because Congress hasn't taken the responsibility. We have a plan to change that. We put our plan out on the floor. Contrast that with a behind closed door study. How about we do something for the American people like...
That was just Representative Larson saying that there needs to be higher Social Security checks and that no one should be getting below the poverty line checks. Take a look at this right here. You can see that the poverty level for 2025 is $15,060. With some simple math, we can see divided by 12 for 12 months, that is coming out to $1,255, meaning that no senior or Social Security recipient should get below $1,255. Now, with this great Social Security plan, we can see here that it is going to increase across the board for every Social Security recipient by 2%. 5% if you've been getting your benefits for 15 years or more, and then increases benefits to boost lower income seniors. I'm going to go over more of these Social Security benefits and give you some other important updates, as well as play you the full video clip of what Representative Larson had to say about increasing Social Security benefits. Before I dive into the main content, if you appreciate these Social Security updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Social Security updates. So with Representative Larson saying that there needs to be higher Social Security checks, increased benefits, changes haven't been happening in a long time. Now, Representative Larson might be one of the few vocal seniors or Congress members in Congress talking about the need for increased Social Security benefits. Now, what about the other Congress members? The 500 or 600 members that have been completely silent about increasing Social Security checks. If only they knew how horrible it was to live below the poverty line. Those Congress members are getting $174,000 a year. They have no idea what the struggles are of people on Social Security. So I think there should be a swap. I've said this before. A Congress member should swap with someone on Social Security, maybe not even just for a month, for an entire year. Someone on Social Security should get a $174,000 salary, and then a Congress member should get maybe $15,000 a year, or the $1,200 per month. See how it really feels, the struggle. All right, let's get into this right here. Now, Representative Larson talks about the increases and expands 12 essential benefits. I highlighted just a few of them for you. I'm going to go over what these 12 benefit increases, enhancements, how it could change Social Security altogether in a moment. But first, let's take a listen to the rest of what Representative Larson has to say.
Connecticut, Mr. Larson, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I come to the floor today to talk about America's #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly and the #1 anti-poverty program for children. That program is Social Security, our nation's #1 insurance plan. And currently, it's under siege. Both Senator Wyden and President Biden have, I think, rightly said that what this amounts to is a buzzword for cuts to Social Security, a fiscal commission that's designed to have backroom meetings without hearings, unamendable, and yet bring to both floors of the House and Senate an up or down vote, put together by 16 people, 4 who have no vote, and 6 from the Senate, 6 from the House, only 7 votes required to pass a bill that goes directly to the floor for a vote. That is an abomination and derelict of duty on behalf of the House and the Senate, and I strongly oppose it. It's been 53 years since Congress has enhanced Social Security. These are your brothers and sisters, your family members, your neighbors, the people you go to church with. This money comes directly back to every single congressional district and your community and goes to help people. The average Social Security check is $18,000 for a male, $14,000 for a female, and there are 5 million of our fellow Americans who get below poverty level checks from the government, below poverty level checks, because Congress hasn't taken the responsibility. We have a plan to change that. We put our plan out on the floor. Contrast that with a behind closed door study. How about we do something for the American people like vote, Mr. Speaker? Vote on something that is essential to their livelihood. And as you know, Mr. Speaker, Social Security isn't just a pension plan. More veterans rely on Social Security disability than they do on the VA, and it's spousal and dependent coverage as well that we're providing. Even President Trump has gone so far as to criticize Nikki Haley and say, hey, listen, this idea of raising the age, which the Republican Study Committee calls for, is cutting benefits in Social Security. You listen to Donald Trump on everything else. Let us hope that you understand in what he's talking about here in terms of gutting Social Security and causing across-the-board cuts to a vital program that every single American needs. Mr. Speaker, there are also more than 28 million Americans who the only benefit that they have in retirement will be Social Security. It is an outrage that this body in the House and in the Senate have not taken up Social Security, both to improve its solvency and also to enhance its benefits. We have a program that does that, a 2% across the board increase for everyone, lifts 5 million Americans out of poverty who've paid into a system all their lives and get below poverty level checks from the government because of Congress inaction. It repeals WEP and GPO for teachers and firefighters and municipal employers. It will provide a tax break for more than 23 million Americans. And it does so by simply lifting the cap on people over $400,000. And what does that do? It pays for all of these benefits and also extends solvency well into the future. That's what we should be doing as a body. We don't need to study Social Security. We know what.
Mr. Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner. Thank you so much for your candor. It's always refreshing giving the enormous responsibility that you have and just how important revenue is for the functioning of our government. That's why, of course, we were very much alarmed when this committee voted to cut $80 billion out of funding to the IRS. What kind of an impact would a cut like that have, especially at this time when we're concerned about the federal deficit? What kind of a cut would that have, especially, you've articulated very well, trying to keep pace with all the technological changes that you're going to, while at the same time humanizing the IRS through your call centers and the ability for people to have direct contact with a human being.
Yeah, I mean, our budget was cut year over year between 2010 and 2022. If you add all that up, it's a 25% cut. Our staffing size shrunk to the same size it was in the 1970s. But over those same 12 years, the tax system grew and got a lot more complicated, and we have a lot more to do. Tens of millions of more filers, thousands of changes to the tax codes, new programs, new activities, and a very different world. A gig economy where we used to not have a gig economy, and more global globalization, movement of money, new currencies. And it's just a dramatically different world. So when you take those two together and you underinvest over a period of 12 years, while at the same time the job to manage the tax system grows, it's not a good formula. It leads to underperformance. And what I'm trying to emphasize here is the people that suffer are taxpayers. They suffer because the tax laws still exist. They still have these responsibilities, and it's a stressful experience. And when a problem emerges, if they can't get clarity from the IRS, if they can't get through to us, if they can't get their tax issue resolved, it weighs on them, it's burdensome for them, and it's stressful for them. And that's what's so heartbreaking about an underfunded tax agency. It means that we're not answering the phone. It means that our walk-in centers are shuttered, and it means that our digital tools are stagnating. And that's what it means when you describe, let's pull back the IRS funding. It means that the IRS won't be able to function and help you. And if you're not pulling back the tax laws and the tax responsibilities, but you're pulling back the ability for the IRS to serve taxpayers, then the ultimate harm is to the taxpayers themselves. And that's my impassioned plea to make sure that we don't harm taxpayers by making it harder for the IRS to help them.
I think you've articulated that very well. What I'm interested in as well is, because of the sophistication as we go forward, what is the IRS up against when you're dealing with major corporations or people with great wealth? What does it look like inside the IRS when you're dealing with a battery of attorneys, accountants, and consultants that are going up against government employees?
Well, I start with the volume, right? When you look at the number of audit personnel we had the day the Inflation Reduction Act was passed versus the number of the highest wealth filers in the United States. And I'm not talking about just above 400,000. I'm talking about the millionaires, the corporations with $250 million in assets. We break it into cohorts. And at the moment the Inflation Reduction Act was passed, we had one auditor for every 150 of the wealthiest taxpayers in the U.S. And these tax returns are long and complicated, thousands of pages, sometimes hundreds of thousands of pages. So I like people to picture that one IRS auditor or examiner backing in 150 truckloads of paper saying, I'll review all that, that's my job. So it's a real volume challenge. So we had to hire more personnel, to evaluate these returns, but also the complicated financial structures, the introduction of new currencies, the more movement of money into international tax jurisdictions, the proliferation of tax havens, all of it, we have to keep up with it. Exactly. It's an investment that we have to make in our subject matter expertise. It's investment that we have to make in our analytics and our predictive modeling, because here's the other issue. If we don't invest smartly, we just start pulling audits, we're going to end up pulling audits from people that are following the laws more regularly and then adding burden to them when they're doing what they're supposed to do. So precision is actually very important here, and you have to invest to get that precision.
Mr. Chairman, I think we should do a hearing at some point, too, on what artificial intelligence means and what it will mean to our agencies, especially those that are guarding our privacy issues as well. But thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner. Thank you for your integrity and your candor.
What are your thoughts on what Representative Larson has to say about Social Security? Do you agree, disagree? Should there be an increase in Social Security for everybody across the board? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you think there should be an increase, what number would you be happy with your Social Security increase check per month? Let's get into these 12 increased benefits. So this is the Social Security 2100 Act, represented by, by Representative John Larson. So I'll go through each of these 12 really quick. Increases benefits 2% across the board for every Social Security recipient. Improves the cost of living adjustment. So this is going to give a COLA, switch it from the CPIW to the CPIE, which would result in a higher COLA, not a measly and insulting 2.5%, which is ridiculous, to be honest. It should be at least 5% or higher. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think a good COLA amount would be per year? Then we got increased benefits to boost lower income to seniors, improves benefits for widows and widowers, restores student benefits up to age 26, increases access to benefits for children living with grandparents or other relatives, repeals the windfall the WEP and the GPO, which is actually in Congress right now with the Social Security Fairness Act. This bill actually has it baked in. Ends the 5-month waiting period to receive disability benefits, increases benefits by an additional 5% for those who have received benefits for 15 years or longer, provides caregiver credits, ends the disabilities benefit cut, cuts taxes for the middle income beneficiaries, corrects an unintended flaw in how Social Security benefits are wage indexed, ensures that these benefits do not result in reduced supplemental security income, so SSI, and combines the old age and survivors insurance, that's the OASI, and the disability insurance trust funds. Let me know your thoughts. Which one of these is your favorite? Probably, I would say my favorite is, I like how it has an increased benefit of 5% for elders, but that's only for elders on who are getting benefits 15 years or more. I think it should be a lot higher, and for all of Social Security recipients. Let me know your thoughts on that, and that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you one thing that you should do. When you want to do something, you have the power to do whatever you want. Unless, one thing, you believe in yourself. That's the only trick. So that's all I wanted to tell you for today. Bye. This is the Bella.
A horrible Social Security change. If you haven't seen it already, you're going to want to click this video over here to see how your Social Security benefits may be affected by this change becoming effective 2025. So it's only a few weeks away. Click that video now, and I'll see you in that video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.